He's on fire.
Okay.
He's on fire.
Alrighty. Well,
All right, I should be good. Yeah, I should be good.
Alright. Giuseppe?
Hold up, I'm setting up
Give us
business.
a moment.
Hold up, I'm
Skibbity bow, skibbity
Skibbity
doo.
Skibbity boop.
Skip
Skibbity beep.
Alright, that's enough of that. Whatever's happening, that's
Alright,
enough of
cool.
that.
Alright, I understand. Just hear it on the other end.
I'm...
That was good.
I'm gonna eat this peanut donut as we're doing this, so don't judge me.
I'm gonna eat a sandwich as we're doing this too.
Still eating your kosher bologna?
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hex yeah.
Oh,
Here we
don't
go.
understand. Oh my god.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are starting Crafting a Chat episode 16.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yowza.
Yes, it
Episode
is.
16. We'd like to craft a chat with all of our millions and millions and millions of fans, subscribers, and fellow chatters. Welcome to Crafting a Chat. I'm your boy Giuseppe Jones. We have Adam. We have Genesis. Do we have our other gentleman over here participating with us tonight? To the
Kevin,
right?
the researcher, please enter stage. Hey, there he is.
Hey.
So when we need him, he will jump in. Kevin, he's been on this a while. He's #1 fan, good guy. He doesn't speak too much, but when he speaks, you'll know.
He speaks knowledge.
He speaks knowledge. He's going to be Googling. He'll be looking stuff up. He'll probably take a nap in the middle of this. He'll probably be snacking. But Kevin's our researcher. So, and this is his little podium area. Or his lectern. Those are lecterns, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that little trap area that they were doing the Harry Potter Inquisition, just without so many spikes around him.
I have not seen any of Harry Potter, really, to understand that reference, but I will agree.
Well, that's all right. The masses out there know what I'm talking about.
That's true. And he's
Masses
gone.
of fans.
And he rises to his infinite knowledge.
I guess so. He's on his way to the Rainbow Road right
He's got
there.
a little home there, so we keep him well fed, you know. He
I
takes
like
care
it.
of
Hey,
us.
so gentlemen, what have we been playing this week? Let's get
Oh,
the
man.
ball rolling.
Oh, man. Adam, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I mean, I can go first.
Go ahead.
Oh boy. What have I been playing? It's only been a week since the last one. Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer. Not as much, but I'm guessing we're still going to get back into that. We played that a few times. Having a lot of fun still. Then Thursday, the day of the PS5 came out. I played
Kind of a big
Astro. Yeah, a little bit. Played Astro's Playroom. Played a bit of that on Thursday. Spider-Man didn't get here till Saturday for me, so that was upsetting. But I also then played Sackboy. Played a good bit of that. And then Astro, I actually platinumed that yesterday. No, Sunday? Yeah, Sunday.
Sunday.
Platinum that Sunday. Easy platinum, fun game. Just, can't get over that game. Playing a lot of Spider-Man, beat that once. Halfway through, New Game Plus, 4 more trophies, or 3 more trophies, and then I'm platinuming it. And then I'll get to Spider-Man Remastered. But yeah, I've been PS5. Oh, a little bit of Minecraft. Giuseppe and I jumped in Minecraft. Was that Friday or Saturday? I think that was Saturday. No, Friday.
Right, yeah. Friday.
Minecraft, because we have our own world. And we started almost a year ago at this point. And,
Yeah, almost a year.
yeah, and, I've been playing a lot of games. So, haven't gotten up in some time, but Genesis, what have you been playing?
I've been excitedly playing my PS5. Got that Saturday, so I'm a little late to the party versus you.
That's fair.
I ended up playing Astrobot, platinuming that also Sunday. Played a little bit of Miles Morales. Just started DMC5 Special Edition today. Been having a lot of fun with that, dying over and over. I think our resident knowledge guru Kevin can tell you that I've been dying over and over. And then, what else did I don't think I got a chance to try any of the PS4 titles except for now Minecraft. But I'm looking forward to testing some of those. PS5 has been a lot of fun. It's been amazing. It's been a fantastic experience so far, and yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Giuseppe?
Yeah, just logging back onto doing some Minecraft. Really happy to see it functioning better, at least mechanically from your end. Certainly at the Dimmadome and other areas, which suffered from severe lag issues. But PS5 hardware seems to be bolstering the software, so that's good to see. It's very minimal reception on my end. It's still a laggy mess in in the home center there.
Server runs better, you said, though.
It does.
Because I'm not dying.
Right. That definitely helps. And then just
You're
a little
having
bit
a stroke.
Yeah. And then just unfortunately dragging myself back into NBA 2K20 because, well, I'm a broke man. So that's it. I have nothing really fun to share when it comes to games that I'm playing.
All right, depressing.
Very depressing.
You will soon. You will soon. Don't
Soon,
worry.
yeah.
You will soon.
Let's reach for the razor blades. Anyway.
Oh my God! Oh no! Call that 1-800 number.
No.
I don't know. Google
vertical slices. Vertical slices. Anyway.
No, gee, oh my God!
We're on stream. No, we call a hotline.
There's such a positive message at the end, usually at the beginning. I don't know if they even make it there. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't think he made it there. He skipped that whole message, and he's like, just go for the vertical slices.
I had myself a pretty bad day, so I'm a little feisty, I'm a little fired up, a little charged up. So
Oh boy.
So yeah, would
be a
anyone
good one.
like to go first? Yeah, it might be. We'll see.
Okay, so Genesis and I were talking about this, and since our topics are very similar, we should go one after the other. So the question is, Giuseppe, do you want to go first or last?
I'll go last.
Oh, all right. Then Genesis, do you want to go first, or do you want me to start?
All right, let me start up with how amazing this console is. I only have positive things to say, since you're going to flip the coin and say the other side of it.
Ooh, spoilers.
What? Oh, okay, I see.
I never said what my topic was, and you spoiled it.
Well, it's fine. Transition, I guess, in that.
Sure.
So, from my perspective, and I think a lot of people's perspective, the PlayStation 5 has been just a joy to have. From the graphic fidelity, obviously, of the newer games, to the speed of the SSD with no loading screens, that I think is the most, well, actually, that's the second biggest thing that this console has to bring to the generation. And the first being that controller, which, honestly, the only game that can do this controller justice is Astrobot. No other game can do it justice the way that game has done it. By showcasing every single aspect of that controller, from the haptic feedback triggers to the actual vibration of the controller to just how well the controller feels now. It's a night and day difference from a DualShock 4 to a DualSense. Absolutely night and day difference. The console itself, in actuality, is very, very gigantic. I actually did not expect it to be that big, but when I actually took it out of the box, I was like, oh my god, this thing is huge. Very quiet, runs very smoothly. No issues on my side for now. I know there are some technical stuff going on Reddit side of things with some people posting here and there, but for the most part, this console has had just a amazing time running all the games that I've tried to play on it. They've all run very smoothly, no hiccups, no issues, and just, man, I don't know. There's so many different options now in this console, from just convenience type of options. So like on the DualSense controller, the little mute button that's on the bottom of that controller, that is a godsend as well. Instead of going to the PlayStation menu, gonna go into the quick menu, go into a chat, and then hitting yourself on mute. And with everything lagging through, because the PS4, even with the PS4 Pro, your menus would lag quite a bit when you're in a game, even when you're outside of a game, honestly speaking. So, that convenience factor there, that just the quick panel on the bottom when you hit your PlayStation button, going right on the bottom and having all your things there. I will admit it's a little bit, I think, disorganized now, but that's going to fix itself in later updates. I'm not worried about that. We've already gotten our first stability update, so that's already hit the console already once.
Is that what that was?
I'm sure we'll see. Yeah, I'm sure we'll see quite a few more of those coming through. But all in all, I believe this console has had a very, very successful launch. And interestingly enough, this is a side thing, but I was looking at October's NPD numbers. And obviously, the newer consoles have been hyped up for a whole year up until now. So anybody curious or anybody want to take a guess as to what the PS4 and Xbox sold, and the Xbox combined total of Xbox One X and One S and all that, and PS4 Pro, in October?
It's a whole month?
Just a whole month.
84,000.
Nope. A little lower.
I have no idea.
So
20,000.
a combined, that's too low. That's actually one of them.
65.
So a combined total, about 65K between the two. Anybody want to take a guess at what the Switch sold?
380. Higher?
Higher.
1.2.
A little lower. Just a little lower.
1.1.
A little farther down. 786,000 in 1 month.
Yeah, no, the Switch is killing it right now.
Absolutely insane.
It's the number one selling console for 23 months in a row.
Are they, do they have any software driving that? Or is this that people are discovering for the first time, even though it's been out for a while? Like, oh, you can have this thing.
That Mario, there was the Mario 35 and all that, but then that Mario Kart Circuit Racer debuted at number 5 on NPD.
Yes, I did
for
see
October,
that. A lot of Sony exclusives have taken a few spots down, and the Nintendo games have all pushed up quite a bit.
Nintendo has 9 games in the top 20 for October.
Insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. But the whole reason why I brought that up is I want to see how this is going to offset with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. I mean, the PlayStation 5 has been selling insane amounts, I'm assuming, because every time a restock goes up, it goes out within, I want to say, a couple of seconds.
It's not.
People
it's
wouldn't
not
even
long.
have minutes to even input their card information and go ahead and put that. But I will say the way I got my PS5 is actually the way I'm going to probably get every next generation console from now on, and that's Sony Direct. That website, I got to give them props for that website. That is the only place I managed to actually have a proper queue, get in, put my card information, have some time to actually check my stuff out without a bot taking it, because of the queue system that they have there. Every other website just doesn't measure up to that now. And that ties me back to just the quality of what Sony's doing now. Everything that from the UI to the way the system is to even the way that I'm interacting with just all the games, it just feels years ahead now compared to a PS4, and I can't stress that enough.
It honestly feels like that word, quality. It really feels quality. When I first picked up the DualSense, it has that heft to it, but it feels like it's a quality-made controller. And then you see all those things.
Empty.
Yeah, you see all those things too with the, look at the X, triangle, square, and circle are all on the back in super tiny, letters. Or, they're just all there. And then it's also on the console, and it's like, they really wanted to make a statement with this one, and it's nice that it really seems like they put an investment in. But I was blown away when I first used this DualSense. After reading everything, and then even when I brought up the Jason Schreier tweets, where he was like, oh, this DualSense is nuts, and everyone was freaking out about it. Starting up Astro, and you have the DualSense, and it's showing you, hey, this is how this works, and it puts like a bunch of astrobots into the controller, and then it's like shake the controller, and you shake it, and it
And you
feels like
really feel everything in
yeah,
there.
it feels like there's a bunch of astrobots in there, and you're shaking them around, and there's
And
also
it's very
noises coming out of the
different,
controller. Yeah, it was
very
mind
different than the
blowing.
DS, than the DualShock 4 when we put Astrobots in there, and we did that demo with the original Playroom demo on the
Yeah,
PS4. It feels so different than that. A lot of people will say, "Oh, well, people who have not had the chance to play with the DualShock, I mean the DualSense, and only have a DualShock 3 or 4 or something like that." When they pick up a DualSense, they will only know then. Us just saying it is never gonna do it justice because it just has that different feeling to it. It really does.
yeah. Because the DualShock 4, that vibration, like you wouldn't think haptic feedback would really make that much of a difference, but when you're
It
playing
does.
Astro, it's almost mind blowing how much of a difference it makes. Like
And a lot
in
of the
Spider-Man, it's
praise.
cool with the adaptive triggers with swinging and
Hmm.
stuff, but Astro is the one that really takes advantage of everything on this controller, and it is nuts. It is crazy. And I can't wait for everyone to experience it, especially Giuseppe, because
Absolutely.
I can't wait to hear
Absolutely.
his hot take. And Kevin, he hasn't played Astra, but he turned off the adaptive triggers for Call of Duty because just didn't care for it. Um, but I think he said you turned them on for the pathless. Is that correct, Kevin?
Yeah, I have them on for the pathless.
And you're enjoying it more there?
Yeah, it's a lot less severe.
Okay. Yeah.
Call of Duty, I don't mind the right trigger because that basically tries to mimic like the trigger recoil that you would feel while firing. The left trigger though is so annoyingly hard to pull back to aim because I think they're trying to replicate the weight of the weapon. But the problem I have is like when you're picking up a weapon in your hand and aiming with it, you have your entire hand to support that weight, not
Hmm.
one finger. It's a little extreme.
Yeah. You can change like the like how strong it is,
Oh
but
yeah,
Hmm.
that would probably change. That would definitely change both of them. So I don't even know if it's worth it
yeah.
at that
The
point.
right
So
one, right? The right one is fine. The left one is where I have the problem. So
maybe one day they'll
Maybe
do a
one day we'll
patch
have that
like,
option to change it.
hey, R
Yeah.
two
yeah.
and L two are separate, but at this point,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, but the my finger was getting tired when I was playing Spider Man, just swinging around, and like it
Which
was fun because Miles was getting tired because I was late in the game by the time I literally played it for like 12 hours straight, and my
hmm
finger was just done, and Miles it was towards the end of the game was just tired, and I was like, man, I'm with you. Clearly, it was just my one finger, but at the same time, like it was crazy.
when you're swinging the web, are you pressing the trigger all the way down, or are you just pressing it down to the vibration?
I press it most of the way down. I don't go all the way down. Sometimes I go all the way down, like in the heat of battle, and then I realize that I'm pushing it all the way down. Cause
I've heard
yeah,
on Reddit that people are saying don't press it all the way down. Press it until you feel the vibration, and as you're swinging, if you keep holding it, you'll feel the string of the web, like
yeah, you
how it
do.
strains.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll feel that like the tension from the actual web come back, and I was like, that's insane.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Because
pretty cool.
when you like grab a building and then as you're falling, you feel like him like I don't the line get
Grab
like
it.
taut.
Yep.
And yeah,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
really
Yep.
cool. Like I kind of wish like there's a moment in Spider-Man where in the demo we all saw on the bridge when he's holding the bridge together and you have to tap square. I'm like, why didn't they make this R2 and L2 and like pull those in to like pull the bridge? Like that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That would have
like
been really cool. That would have been
like
really cool.
the what they're doing with the controller, I think it was like more of a like we don't need to do something crazy with it. Astro is trying to show off the tech, and Astro is really a tech demo, but it's such a great game, and the time trials are so much fun. I was so shocked at how much I enjoyed those, and then how we all three of us platinumed it. Our friend Chris joined us and platinumed it on Sunday with Genesis
Where's
and I.
Chris? Isn't he supposed to be here today or no?
No, he does his own thing. You know, he's too tall
All right.
to know this thing's going on.
Yeah, I
Um,
heard that height is a limiting factor there. So
yeah, yeah, he's too tall to enter Minecraft, too tall to
yeah,
ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
the controller, man, whew, shocking how good it is.
I'd like to piggyback one thing that off of Genesis's it essentially positive review of the PS5 launch. I'm very, very happy that Genesis, you were able to secure a PS5 through Sony Direct. But obviously, had you not acquired one, by hook or by crook, I don't believe that you would necessarily think it would be as successful a launch. And a lot of people out there who definitely expressed interest in being a first wave day one purchaser of the console are definitely on the outside looking in. There's definitely been a lot of disappointment. There's been a lot of confusion by basically anybody selling and moving the system that isn't Sony Direct. So your Targets, your Walmarts, your big box retailers, there's been a whole bunch of confusion, hurt feelings, wailing and gnashing of teeth over servers crashing, websites lagging, bots stealing, the whole kit and caboodle. And granted, you do have to, be a little bit more. You have to understand that that's going to be happening every time there's a new, events product that's launching. In particular, a new console always seems to happen one way or the other. Despite Sony's best efforts or Microsoft's with Xbox, if they actually plan to really corral that situation in the future, but. A lot of people just didn't have the opportunity to jump into that Sony Direct queue, and they, kind of tossed the dice with other means, and those situations really blew up. And unfortunately, all those price gougers out there, they used those bots, they scooped up and bought all the units that they could, and now they're charging what, $1,000, $1,500,
$1,200, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Honestly, it's legitimately highway robbery. There ought to be some way to prevent that nonsense from happening, but it happens every single time.
It's a simple thing, putting a queue in. Just that's how you limit it. The bots have been it's been very tough for the bots to get in because Sony also fixed the queue recently for PS Direct, so it's much more difficult for them to get in there. People have been able.
But you're talking about a technological threshold that big box retailers are just simply put not interested in investing.
And I don't understand why.
Money and resources.
Because somebody pointed out.
Yeah,
somebody pointed out a fact with. Well, it's not even that. Somebody pointed out a fact on Reddit. They're like, well, these big box guys should be very concerned because first of all, they're losing out on attachments because all these bots are just buying these consoles. Yeah. They're just buying consoles. They're not buying anything with it. So that's their attachment margin going down the drain. First of all, second of all, if that even means anything to them, which that should be revenue in their pocket, I assume, right? Because when they attach to a console, that's an attach rate that they're getting. That basically. They're making that money on
all accessories have a much higher profit margin. The primary hardware and the vast majority of the software that gets sold for consoles, they're very, very low profit margins, maybe in the 5 to 10% range if they're lucky.
Right, and I feel like these guys, if they're even concerned, I mean, there's many PS4s. There's hundreds of thousands of PS4s going PS5, sorry. PS5's going out. One of these I'm going to get right at them, I know.
One day.
One day, later on. There's so many PS5s going out that you would think that these guys actually give a shit to do something like that. It doesn't seem like they want to care.
Well, they don't, because again, you're asking, big business to spend money where they had not originally planned or intended to spend money. So, in lieu of doing something that makes sense or proactive, they'll choose to do nothing and let the whole world come tumbling down. So, even despite their own faces, when it comes to profit, when it comes to actually, selling merchandise, because at the end of the day, the merch is getting sold. It may not be happening in the best way, but it's being sold, and they honestly don't care because they don't have people working for those corporations that have that kind of vision. Because otherwise, they would have addressed their website issues long ago. This business with the console launch with PS5 and Xbox Series X, yes, it's accentuated because of the newness of this particular event product. But these issues have persisted, go back year after year after year regarding like exceptional Black Friday deals. Can we all remember that infamous Best Buy gift card situation that was like just spiraling out of control because of goodness. What was it? You were getting like a $200 gift card for spending like 10 $30 or something. I don't know. It was a few years ago.
It was the reverse. So usually when you buy a 200 you get a 15, but for some reason it was reversed. You bought a 15 and you get a $200 gift card. I don't understand how that made any sense.
Right. So yeah, obviously these companies do not have interest in actually, like shoring things up, because just every new thing that comes along that potentially causes a situation to push the sites and servers and their electronic infrastructure to the limit, inevitably it just falls down. You just count on it. You just bank on it and count on it.
So ridiculous. We live in 2020 for this. But, with all the good things, sometimes come bad things, which Mr. Adam's going to talk about here.
Segue.
About the PS5.
Wow, you had a short topic. Wasn't even 20 minutes.
That was listen, on my session, it shows 29.
Ooh.
We started talking about it at 10:20. We were...
I'm good with that.
It's fine. We got a lot of negatives for this garbage console. You know what I'm talking about, man? I'm just kidding. This console's great. She beefy, but she quick, is what my friend Alex said. So, she beefy, but she quick. The first thing, I'm gonna shout out my boy Kevin here. If you want to jump in, you had a hot take on this earlier this week. There's no themes. And there's no Kevin. He's took a nap. It's the nap Kevin time.
Gotcha. All right.
And no themes, which is a little disappointing. We knew they weren't going to be here. And themes took, I think, a year to come out on PlayStation 4. Even longer on PS3. But I'm assuming they're coming eventually, but currently, no themes. A little upsetting. Oh? Is that Kevin? Is he making sounds now?
Huh?
Nope.
Okay.
Anyways, he just left. He left us. Didn't even care. But, another issue I have is the menus. It's very basic right now, which we all expected, because every time Sony launches a console, they never have all the options that were there, like folders and stuff. Like, I should have realized that, but at the same time, it's like I got so used to folders that I miss folders. I just really like organizing stuff. Also, trophy notifications are so quiet. I need to hear my trophies.
I do like the new sound of trophies though, even though they're quieter. I heard a couple of them pop like when I was playing DMC.
You can adjust that somehow?
You cannot adjust the sound of the trophy.
Oh.
Yeah. If there is a way, I have not found it. I Google it every day, because maybe someday somebody will ask it and somebody will answer it. Whenever you have an issue with a new console, you can't really Google anything, because nobody's Googling it yet, or if they have, it's not really that well known. So Reddit's been a big help for a couple things the last week or so. But yeah, the trophy sounds, I can barely hear them as I'm playing the games and talking to you guys. Usually I turn it up, like knowing I'm going to get a trophy, because, it's my drug. The sound is alright. The sound is alright. I kind of miss the ding or the pop, if you will. I really like the PS3 sound too. And the PS4 sounded like an upgraded version of the PS3 sound. This one is like, oh, you got a trophy. Like, okay, thank you, I guess. But also it's like, just super quiet. So I need them to adjust that. And also, as a bonus for Adam points, make me pick the sound. Like you got the history of PlayStation. Like throw some. Maybe I want a crash sound, like wow or whatever he does. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I totally want the Metal Gear Surprise sound. Bring.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be a good one. That'd be a real good one.
Yeah, it'd be so cool
nice one
to get that. I feel like that's something you could totally do. Because this seems like a console you can customize quite a bit. It seems like that
Yes.
was one of the things they were going for, whether they wanted to do it at launch or not. Because they took down all the decal sites, or all the sites that were trying to give custom plates, and the decal sites kind of gave up. Some of the items in the menus, hard to find. Half the things we need got to go to Game Base, which is you tap the PlayStation button once, and you go over to a thing called Game Base, and that's where you get your party, and that's how you start a share play. That's how you join a share play. That's how you send a message. That's how you view your messages. It's how you change your party settings. And it's weird because on your main screen, you don't have that. You have to tap the PlayStation button to go into the quick menu, which is strange because on the PlayStation 4, like, you had your main menu, but then also the other smaller menus. But now I have to go to a quick menu to go to a menu to go to a menu in a menu to change a setting that's not in the settings menu. Like, it's very strange.
Something really cool though, and this is just with the same menu talk you're talking right now. In PS4, you had to, when you held the PS button, that side menu would come up, right? And even if you did that, when you're broadcasting something or viewing something on the, like, streaming something, it would go to the PlayStation's icon and, like, it would take you out of the game, correct?
Yeah.
When you do that with the PS5, I can hit the quick menu and it doesn't even show up on stream, and I can just do what I got to do. I can even go into the game base. I can go into the party. That's actually pretty insane. I'll add that to my list of positives. I like that.
Well, you should have had a longer positive section, huh? Stop interrupting. No, I agree with that. Like, as much as I'm complaining about things, I can't get over how easy and nice this system is. Like, it is so nice to go into to look into my trophies and see, okay, this is where my trophies are. Okay, cool. Look at this. They load quick. There's no issues with that. Everything is so much quicker, and I cannot stress enough how much quicker it is. I was telling Genesis how quick it was, and then I felt like I was hammering at home. And then by the time he hopped on and got his PS5, he was like, "Oh my God, it's so quick!" It is so quick, and I will never turn on my PlayStation 4 again. If we were having streaming issues, I just never. I'm sorry, it's canceled. The show's over forever. Replace me. Like, I can't go back. I'm an impatient person when it comes to technology, and this has ruined me even more. So, and I had internet issues all day. My internet was out from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. ish.
Yikes.
So yeah, I know I had a company's hotspot for my phone company's hotspot help me through that. So also the technician who came to fix it, first thing he said, "Whoa, is that a PS5?" So, I'm not saying, but people like the PS5. So I'm thinking it's going to be a hit.
PS5's
It's a hot take. I think it's going to be a hit.
And it's weird. Even all the negative press that the system has gotten online for the people who are saying, okay, there's issues with the SSD not being done yet. There are
not being done. What?
Meaning, like, not being usable yet. Sorry, not being usable.
Oh,
yet.
like the external SSDs.
The additional SSD.
Yeah.
Some of the issues that people have been going through. The fact that some of the games need patches like Sackboy needs a patch to go ahead and get the online play. Even through all that, this console still is just getting the most positive praise and reviews still from everybody alike. Even through all that, and for whatever reason, I don't hear anything negative or positive about the Xbox Series X compared to this.
Well,
I don't hear anything bad about it either.
I've been watching a fair bit of next gen coverage, and the thing that's negative about Xbox, which kind of sucks for Xbox, is that it doesn't feel new. It just feels better than Xbox One X.
It's an upgrade. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
just an upgrade.
Thing.
It doesn't feel like something has changed. Okay, they fixed it. Cool. But to get a fix, you have to spend $500 additional, which doesn't
Right.
seem worth it.
And that shouldn't be the thing.
And then you
Right.
think about it, the $300 additional dollars, that might be worth it. So I really think
That's
Series
going
S,
down the route of the iPhone, in my opinion.
really
It's really
is.
going down the route of the iPhone.
Cell
They're
phones
just
in
doing
general.
very incremental little upgrades here and there when they do their new consoles. Meanwhile, PlayStation is taking the route that Samsung and other phone manufacturers who want to take a jump, like LG and Samsung, who they do these radical new things and say, all right, let's do this. Let's put this out, then let's see how this works. And it honestly works very well.
That's the biggest thing about the PlayStation 5 is it's being touted as like something that's new and different, and it's mostly because of the controller. And the sleek UI is nice, and that's bonus.
But that controller
this
is
controller,
really
and now
sells it.
there was news that Steam is opening up a beta for the DualSense like support. So games on Steam can use DualSense features if they want to. That's how much this controller.
Getting a lot of love.
It's just well loved, and it's a great controller. And when I first held it, I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I really like the DualShock 4. I don't know if this is going to change." My opinion has completely changed. This is way better than DualShock 4. This is my favorite controller. It finally beat the GameCube. It's only been 5 days. GameCube was my favorite controller. I'm a broken human being. Don't ask. But the DualSense, it is. I thought it was too heavy at first, and I was like, I don't like the face buttons are clear, and the D-pad, it's the same D-pad, the sticks are the same, but after holding it and playing games for a while, it just feels like it's part of my hands. Like, it just feels so comfortable. It's so nice.
Very good.
And, the look of it, I don't like white. I'll be honest right now, I'm a racist against white controllers. Let's throw that down right now. But this one, it looks great. Also, not dirty, and my hands sweat. So, I might have to do a wipe down every so often on this thing. But I've been cleaning my hands a lot more. I mean, I was cleaning my hands a lot more because of the pandemic. And I'm cleaning my hands even more now. Like, I'm eating, I don't just napkin.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, you gotta wash. You gotta wash a second time. Keep washing until your skin comes off. That's what they say.
That's the way you protect yourself against the pandemic and COVID.
I'm pretty sure the saying is wash until you see the white of their bones. Oh, wait a minute. I don't remember. That doesn't seem right, but whatever. Not as dark as the thing Giuseppe said earlier. Another issue I have with the PlayStation 5 interface, it's to do with trophies. Most of this is about trophies. The trophies display going from left to right and not down. That is not something you can change. The trophies, when you're looking at them, are very large. So if it's a hidden trophy or if it has a description, you can't read it. Like, it cuts it off. So you have to click into the trophy. If it was going down, it would have more space, and I think I would prefer that because it's kind of annoying. Also, on the home screen, I can't see my trophy level. I have to go to my profile and click on it to see my trophy level. Not a big deal to most people, but I like to see it always. Just gently stroking me, you know what I mean?
I do have some comments from my chat over here. Desinoto's in the chat again. We haven't seen him in a while.
Does he have a PS5? That's the main question.
I'm sure he does.
Desinoto, do you have a PS5? The entire cast here wants to know if you have a PS5.
He does.
A couple of comments. He says he thinks the D-pad is the only slight drawback, but literally everything else looks and feels amazing. Pressing down on the D-pad feels a little less satisfying than before. I'm assuming because I guess it's a little less clicky, maybe? Is that maybe what he's saying?
Oh, maybe.
And triggers are still very, very sick. He loves the triggers. So, yeah, from that, I'm going to go ahead and say he has a PS5.
Triggers.
How did you just clap?
What?
How did you just clap? Okay. Clicky just feels better to me, is what he says. So, yeah, he likes the clicky one better.
The D-pad, it feels mostly the same, and it looks mostly the same to me. I don't even know if they changed too much. The clicking was very satisfying on the DualShock 4, but in some ways, it still clicks, but it's like a softer click. And it's still there, so it's enough for me. But I do understand that. I'm looking at my DualShock 4 way over there, sitting on top of my PS4 Pro. And And I'm like, I miss the click, but at the same time, I'd rather click these like
Absolutely.
any day of the week.
110% of the time, I would take this controller over the DualShock 4, DualShock 3, the 2 or the 1 or anything like that. So
Hey, I'll tell you what, the 6-axis, so that was the first 6-axis. Remember that one?
I don't understand how you even liked that when it had no rumble in it. I was like, this is an empty,
I'll tell you
hollow
what.
feeling
I'll tell
controller.
you what. All through my PS3 days, only had a 6-axis. Never upgraded my controller. That's why it doesn't turn on unless it's plugged in now. So, because the battery life on that thing is dead. So, it is like super dead. I can't even use it like an extension USB because apparently not enough power gets to it. I have to use like only the USB cable that came with the PlayStation.
The other
So,
thing that people are praising this controller for, and I'm surprised that most people, well, a lot of the companies haven't done this yet, especially with the previous gen. This controller gets software updates finally as a driver.
Yeah, that was weird.
So so now you can implement actual updates software-wise to the controller to make it even better, instead of having to buy a totally new controller unless the hardware is changed on that controller. So as time goes on, this controller is only going to get better and better, and that's amazing. I was like, damn, that's really cool that this controller can get updates now.
I don't know how, like, what you can update on the software of a controller that'll change it enough where it'll get better and better. I'm welcome
just
to be
like
surprised.
dead zones and things like that, especially with the latency issues, if there are any, just overall optimizations to the controller itself. Adding additional things into the controller, like let's say they add updates to the controller where somebody pointed out when you play Red Dead 2 on PlayStation 5, your controller where the blue light is right now will flash red if the law is chasing you in there. If you are out of their vision or anything like that, it'll turn yellow, and once you're out, it'll turn green and go off.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
Things like that. It'll update for things like that, so it'll give you small little benefits here and there as far as those optimizations are like. And then I'm assuming maybe as far as like I think what Kevin was talking about earlier, maybe we will get the update on the controller to be able to customize L2 and R2 as different sensitivities or different trigger sensitivities. That all comes with the actual controller updates.
That would be nice.
Again, I mean, if you compare this to the Xbox Series X controller, which, oddly enough, I was looking at the ad for Black Friday for Best Buy, and this controller's not on sale, but those controllers are actually on sale that day. The main thing that I've heard from those are they're more of the same. They haven't done anything to change it at all.
The D-pad's different. It's got the Pro D-pad, like the Pro controller D-pad, and it's a little bit like they changed a couple things. I'm including like a create button or whatever, like a share button, whatever it is. And it's still not as good as their Pro controllers. And I've used a Pro controller because I know someone who has one, and it's a quality controller. And I would still love the ability to make a quality like PlayStation 5 controller, but I don't know what I would like change or improve on this other than the color.
I don't know either. The color, I think once we see more colors, that'd be nice. But this controller, I don't think we need a Pro controller when we're looking at this now. There's no need for a Pro controller at this point in time.
What do you think about the PlayStation button actually just being the PlayStation logo and not a full button?
I don't mind it at all. I actually like it.
I love it.
I think it looks more classy that way, I think.
When I was using the DualShock, I would go to hit it, and I would miss it all the time because it felt very similar to the other part of the controller. So I would always like only partially hit it, or like I wouldn't hold it long enough, and it wouldn't activate. This one, I go down, and I'm like, oh, there it is, and I click it. So that was just a stupid thing of me, but this one, I really like. That mute button is completely useless to me because my headphones have a mute button. And when I press the mute button on the controller, it says, use your headphones, dum-dum. So.
Yeah, for me it works because I always have a wired headset going to this controller because that's just the way it works for me. I don't ever play with headsets like that because I have a surround sound here, so I don't do that. So for me, the mute button is a godsend, honestly. I don't have to go into a menu to hit it anymore. It's just a quick button. The microphones on this controller, though, are also what surprised me with how good they sound. I didn't realize they would sound that good, especially when you explained that the back one filters out background noise and the front takes my voice, and I'm like, how does it know how to do that?
Well, the one in the front is listening to your voice, and the one in the back is listening to other sounds, because your voice is not facing it. And then when it hears those sounds, it mutes them. So that's how it does that. It's very simple.
Kevin, you got any thoughts on this controller?
Nope, it's a controller.
Oh.
Wow. Wow.
Very simple, very manicured words.
Enough said.
Hero. Kevin, I did want to ask you about something, if you have time.
He needs to come down for that, I think.
Tell me about the audio in Call of Duty.
Why? It's not on topic.
Well, it is on topic. It's on Genesis' topic, but he moved on too quick to get to it, and I figured, why not? We're going back. We're flipped. Genesis and I have become a yin and yang of the PlayStation.
All right.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. You look like a speedster, Johnny Quick, right?
Yeah.
Except you know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
No.
It's
The guy who
DC.
drives that car?
No. Oh, yeah, and similar. But
He
no,
does
it's
look like him,
it's a DC one. He's the one where Batman tells him to go fast, and then he's like, the Flash isn't fast enough. That's why you got to do it. And then he does it, and then he becomes super old, and he's like, you knew this would happen. And Batman's like, yep. And then he defeats Owlman. I forget what story that is. Anyways, Kevin, audio us.
Please talk about the audio.
Alright. I think the audio in Call of Duty is pretty damn good. It's really cool how they made the weapons sound different as you fire. So the fewer and fewer bullets are in your magazine, you can hear it echo differently. You can actually tell your magazine is getting closer and closer to empty. And just, there's so much bass. Finally, first-person shooters are getting bass back. Took forever, because freaking Halo 3 started the whole shebang of having everything be so quiet and so popcorny, as opposed to an actual, like, gunshot. And that's about it.
Wow. Literal shots fired at Halo 3. So.
Do you hear anything from the controller when you
started
fire?
the whole trend. I don't know.
Like, if you
I
pull the
turned off
trigger,
my
do you
controller
hear...
speaker.
Oh, okay. You turn that off from there. Because I know some, like, in Astrobot, you hear a lot of things from the controller, like, when you're using it, and I was like, I thought that was pretty neat. I know PS4 games use the speaker on the DualShock 4, but this, for whatever reason, just sounds more refined and well done with the sounds. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Even the voice chat comes out on here, which is also I found pretty cool. The audio coming out of this controller.
This is another thing I can't really comment on because on DualShock 4 and PlayStation 4, never really heard anything out of the speaker because I hated it and it scared me every time. Like you pick up an audio log in a game and then all of a sudden you hear like, whoosh, hey, this command, this is who's speaking? So, and then with the over-the-ear headphones that I have, like I don't hear nothing. So.
Yeah, I usually have headphones on, so
Yeah.
I either don't hear what's coming out of the speaker, or I can tell that something's coming out of the speaker, but it's like important, and I want to hear it, and I can't. So I just take the headset off just to hear it. It's just a hassle, so I just turn it off.
If you
It's a neat
ask
feature,
me,
but it doesn't make any sense.
Do you notice anything different with the 3D audio? Have you had that setting turned on, or is that off for your headset?
Not really. I mean, it's pretty standard 3D audio.
Okay.
there hasn't been anything groundbreaking with 3D audio, but I do have to comment that every game I've played has had a killer soundtrack. And literally every game. Miles Morales is great. Apparently I like Jaden Smith's songs. What is it? Sackboy shocked me so much that I played the level like over and over. Kevin knows the one. And then Astro, just GPU Jungle. That song is
GPU Jungle.
so good. I watched it on YouTube. Chris and I were talking about it. I actually read an interview with the Astro developers and stuff. The raindrops in that game fall on the ground and they make like the PlayStation symbols. Yeah.
Yeah.
The when he flies, it's blue rays. It's the blue rays coming out of his boots.
That's crazy.
There's so many little details like that, and I really just want to get Giuseppe into that game and watch him play that, just because that is something that I think you're really going to enjoy, Giuseppe. When you're playing that game, it's free for one, so you're going to like that. And then um, it's just the nostalgia in it is so nice. So, oh, one thing we forgot to say. Uh, Share play and screen share are separate. Screen share is unlimited time. You can watch a friend play a game. You can pin it to anywhere on your screen, and you can play. Chris and I, as we were playing Astro, I was watching him play, and he was watching me, and we were trying to find the puzzle pieces because he was missing one somewhere, and I was missing one somewhere else. So we were just playing and watching each other's screen. And then we're doing the time trial, same thing. It was so
That's
cool. Yeah, it was a great experience, and I'd love it. We honestly probably could if we weren't streaming. Like I would have just Genesis's screen up here. You'd probably be watching mine as we're playing Minecraft.
Yep.
Hey, what you building?
We've
Oh, I
done
can see
before.
it. Yeah, and multiple people in a party can share their screen at the same time. And then SharePlay does have a timer, and it's still an hour, but it doesn't start until you start doing a share play, so screen share still can continue. It's so nice.
Absolutely.
It's a feature I've always wanted. Little disappointed, couldn't share my screen with Giuseppe. I feel like that's not hard.
The cross-generational share play and screen share should have been a thing, I think, because I don't see why you couldn't see something like he could just have it full screen. Obviously not a picture-in-picture, but full screen if you wanted to just sit there and watch a game that we're playing or something like that. Bye, Kevin. We could he could have that on his screen, or he can see what it looks like on our side. That's a little bit disappointing on that, and maybe PlayStation might update that later, but I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know if they spend that much effort on the old gen.
I mean, it could be something that they could do, but I don't think they'll do it. Or even if when they do it, Giuseppe will already be on PS5 and playing with us
I
and
would hope so.
screen share and stuff. So this console is just, I can't wait till everybody gets one. I really hope everybody gets one, like everybody who wants one. I don't hope like just some random people get it. If they don't want it, don't get it. But I really
right now, a lot of price gougers have them.
well, don't buy those. So
yes,
Yeah, don't
if
nobody buy those.
I see people
Nobody buy
complaining
those,
about
please.
price gougers online, but then I see them selling. So hey, don't do that.
Right.
The reason they do that is because you buy them. So stop. So
Yes.
like you can complain all you want, but if you got to encourage your fellow people to not buy them, like you got to resist. I know it sucks, and I'm in a privileged position because I bought two, because I prepared and waited. So, but you guys just don't buy them. Wait patiently. You'll get one. There's gonna be
Yeah,
stock.
everybody will get one, absolutely.
Follow Wario64 on Twitter. Follow anybody else on Twitter. Like you'll
There's
get
also
one.
a pre-order Discord. Get on that. It's on the PlayStation 5 Reddit. Go on there and you can check that pre-order Discord and get some info right there too.
Plenty of resources to help you get one if you're trying to get one. So, Giuseppe, I honestly think this is a good time to transition. Unless Genesis, you have anything else to say?
No, I think it's just the same sentiment as you. I hope everybody gets their PS5 that they want, and everybody gets to experience the same awesome, amazing time we've been having on this console, and that's pretty much it. Are we gonna have him pull that lever, by the way?
That's the next thing we're doing, Giuseppe. If you would do me a favor and just pull that lever, just one time, hit that lever.
Yeah.
It lowered our seats.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I went around and I redstoned everything, and I put everybody's seats attached to it, and it just lowers them. I thought it'd be pretty fun, so you can just lower us at any time you get sick of us. But please put us back up, and then let's jump into your topic.
Hang on 1 second. There you go. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Awesome. So now that everyone's done talking about their fun new awesome toys, and of course, I am super glad that you're all enjoying PS5, and that's awesome and great. And what is ticking for crying out loud? What is that?
What?
Hmm?
What are you talking about?
Do you hear something?
Yeah, I hear it ticking. Oh, I don't hear it anymore.
I don't hear it.
I don't hear any ticking. What are you talking about? What are you hearing?
Yeah, I'm hearing a ticking, like a clock counting down or something.
I mean, there's nothing here.
No,
Okay.
there's nothing here. I don't know what I don't know what you're hearing.
Okay. Well, maybe the Switch had something to do with it. I don't know.
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what was something was happening. Anyway,
Hey, why are we so low? Put us back up.
Yeah, you want to just
see, I hit it again, and now the ticking comes back for me. What the heck? What are all these? What is going on here? What is all this?
What?
What is this? What is happening here? What? Oh my God! What is happening? What is this? It's a Calmageddon! It's a Calmageddon! Oh my God! What is happening? What is this?
I gotta say, this is actually better than what I even thought. Adam, can you make it rain real quick?
Oh yeah, I can make it rain. Hold on. Before we got into what your topic is, it's more serious. So we had to have a fun little joke. We might want. All right, it's empty.
Alright, we need to stop that.
Are you good now?
Yeah, we should be fine. We'll leave the rest of the cows. We'll take care of them later.
Alright, hold on.
That was awesome. That was actually much better than I even expected.
Yeah, that worked out great.
Calmageddon.
So what we did was we set this up so when you hit that switch the first time, it doesn't do anything, but when you put it back, it spawns a bunch of cows on an infinite loop.
Yikes.
It sets off a repeater over and over and over and over. So.
And there was about 1 million cows in there, so yeah.
Yeah, there were a bunch. So.
Ton of cows.
All right.
That's what that was. All right. Anyways, before we were rudely distracted by Giuseppe pressing a button, let's get back to this.
I can't believe you did that, man. I really can't believe you.
But
did that.
I ruined it so you could lower us at any time and it won't set off more. So, but anyways, let me make it clear because we're about to talk about some. Oh, I only did the time, guys. That's not weather.
4,321,000.
All right.
All right.
All right, Giuseppe, if you'd be so kind.
The skies have been cleared, and here we go. So, since I do not have a PlayStation 5 and couldn't really fully participate in the discussion, I went ahead and chose to discuss something that happened very recently outside of the actual entertainment aspect of the video game world. I'd like to talk about the most recent Ubisoft swatting incident that happened on November 13th, very, very recently, only a few days ago, in Montreal. There were reports that started coming out over social media regarding a possible hostage situation at Ubisoft's Montreal location, which started blowing up a little bit, and people started getting concerned. And long story short, nobody got hurt. There was nothing horrible that happened. It was an out-and-out prank swatting attempt. I have some details here I'd like to get into, but
Oh,
before
good.
I do, I'd like
Please
to
do.
inform our audience here, in case you don't happen to know what swatting is. Swatting is a form of attack or retaliation in which an aggressor reports a false emergency in an attempt to attract authorities, ideally SWAT, to a target's home location in an attempt to embarrass, confuse, harass, and or possibly end up in a worse situation as a result of this false alarm. So it's basically weaponizing a false alarm situation. It's become a very, very popular form of meta gamer retaliation, extreme behavior going on there. It's not something that is to be condoned. It has resulted in in an actual loss of life situation in 2017. I have these examples written down in my notes. I'll get to them a little bit later. But yeah, swatting is serious business, and it is not something that anyone should be participating in or should be getting a kick out of or anything like that. It's big time. It's big time crime. It should be worse. It's still kind of like in its like niche phase in terms of like how many people are doing it, how many people are aware of it. But if any of you are out there and you hear about swatting or you see swatting or people that you follow are talking about it, loose and cavalier and like that's something you want to go ahead and stay away from because it's not good. It's no bueno. It's bad news. It's much worse than the whole childish death threat nonsense that we've been talking about. Also, most recently with the death threats to CD Projekt and the Cyberpunk 2077 delays. Again, it's equally ridiculous, childish, cowardly, dumb, stupid, but much worse because it can actually result in loss of life, in injury, and in a whole lot of confusion and hysteria. So don't do it. So the details that I have here are from the Montreal Gazette regarding the Ubisoft swatting incident on November 13th. And on that date, Montreal police evacuated the Ubisoft's offices on St. Laurent Boulevard in response to 911 calls of a hostage-taking in progress. Multiple hostage takers were apparently reported. There were ransom demands, and apparently one call appeared or was made to appear to originate from inside the building. So, police secured a perimeter around the entire offices, but later detected no actual threat or injuries were reported. The building had around 200 people inside on that date, on November 13th. Some had locked themselves in offices. Some had barricaded themselves on the roof and just literally barricaded the roof access door and hid up there. The location, thankfully, the location was mostly vacant in comparison to the max capacity that they had. They were mostly teleworking, but apparently that building can accommodate up to 4,000 people. The Gazette article at the end cites the public mischief as a potential crime for which to charge the person who either organized it or called it in or did whatever they did to instigate the entire confusion and the hysteria. In Canada, public mischief is punishable up to 5 years in prison. And I found that was an interesting way to, literally, that was the last line of the article. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I feel like swatting is, yes, it is a public mischief. I can see how that is a way that you would describe that kind of a felony or a crime or a misdemeanor or what have you. But I feel like the net result, specifically this situation, where, yes, 200 people, but, if what would have happened if there were 4,000 people? and everybody trampling over themselves, thinking, "Oh my gosh, what do we do? Everyone duck and cover, run and hide, lock yourselves in." I mean, they probably would have, injured themselves crazily. I mean, trampling over each other to try to find safe haven in a situation where they don't necessarily know where real potential danger may be happening. And I feel like, something like that, the description of that kind of a crime, I feel like that's a little juvenile. I feel it doesn't resonate with the kind of gravitas as that as the net result of the fear, the confusion, the potential for casualties were. And again, that's probably just only one charge that whoever it is, and that's another thing I'd like to make note of. As of today's the 18th?
17th.
As of November 17th, there has been no culprit caught. Nobody's been arrested. Nobody knows who ultimately was the originator of this particular swatting incident. But I imagine that's going to change sooner than later because of the fact that this is one of the first swatting incidents where it's been targeted towards a company, as opposed to individuals, which happens to be the history of swatting, going back all the way to 2009, starting with a Matthew Wegman, no relation, to a certain chain of supermarket stores. Matthew Wegman, he was a blind 19-year-old hacker. He swatted a woman who refused a request for phone sex.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was one of the
kid show. Sorry,
well,
Family show.
sorry, I'm so sorry.
Well, facts, no rating. And then ultimately, one of the most unfortunate and infamous incidents regarding swatting was the 2017 situation in which Andrew Finch was killed by police at his home, drawn there by Mr. Tyler Barris, then 26-year-old, who eventually would plead guilty to 51 charges and sentenced to 20 years in prison in California for swatting Andrew at his house, resulted in his death at the hands of police. So, again, to reiterate, the serious nature of swatting, the fact that it has traditionally been applied to individuals as a calculated personal assault on individuals, not specifically focused in the gaming realm or entertainment, because swatting has been targeted to like public officials, government officials, celebrities have been targets of swatting. So it isn't something that is exclusive to the gaming realm of the entertainment, the community of gamers, or anything like that. It just happens to get a lot of notoriety as a result of its proximity to gaming and gaming culture. It's really bad. It's really bad. What else do I have here? Yeah. So regarding the nature of this particular incident, the fact that it isn't, it doesn't seem to have been targeting an individual. Although that may change once somebody is ultimately arrested. It could very well have been just an attempt to, get back at somebody who worked at the Ubisoft offices, or maybe they had a beef with the company, or maybe they just don't like that particular studio. I mean, who knows? We won't know until somebody's ultimately arrested. And so my first question to the panel is,
it wasn't me, I swear.
It wasn't you. Yeah,
Damn.
I know you've had a number of awesome things to say about Ubisoft as a company.
My question was going to be Genesis. Why'd you do it?
Exactly.
It wasn't me, I promise.
So my first question to the panel was going to be, what does the panel, what would you think could have possibly motivated someone to SWAT the Ubisoft studios in Montreal? And is it possible that the company itself played some role in spurring this kind of behavior as a result of disappointing products, or it's Ubisoft's highly publicized workplace environment of dysfunction and abuse? Is it possible that any of that could have played a role outside of your basic individual, your maladjusted individual, perhaps with some mental disorder, anger management, more of like the typical and probably more, practical reasons why somebody has done anything like that. So I'll put that out there to the panel. What would be your thoughts? Like what do you think could have motivated this? And if in fact the company possibly may have like spurred, a maladjusted person to
Genesis, if it's all right with you, I would like to go first on this.
Go right ahead, sir.
The first part of that, it really could be any number of things. It could be a disgruntled employee. It could be just a crazy person. It could be, really, I couldn't even hazard like a guess. If I was a betting man, I would bet that it's just someone who's just upset with the way the company's going, and I hope that nobody sees this person as like some sort of hero for doing this or like getting back at Ubisoft, and I hope it doesn't start a trend. It could be aimed at one individual. Like there's so many unknown factors, and like you said, we'll find out more as time goes on. And I guarantee you we'll come back to this once we get an update on the story, just so we can talk about it. The second part to that, I don't have anything to say about it because if I say, Ubisoft, their games have been bad and their work culture's been bad, I don't want to give some sort of justification for what they've done. There's literally nothing Ubisoft would have to do to justify this. So, no. Yeah. The answer is no on that.
That it's not possible.
That it's not possible, and the question shouldn't even be asked.
Really?
Yes, because there's nothing that they do where it's like, oh, okay, well, they did this, so I guess I can understand why a fan reacted that way or an individual. No, there's just no answer given. It's almost victim blaming, and it's just not something I want to do.
Uh-huh.
So.
Well, this is, we have democracy here, so questions, all kinds of questions should be, in fact, asked. So I'm going to go ahead and take your question denial. I'll push that to the side. So.
All right, Genesis, what do you have to say about it?
You can have that opinion, but I will definitely say the question can and should be asked.
I just don't see how we could ask that question because by the way you're wording the question, it sounds like we can justify what that person did by what Ubisoft has done in the past.
Well, it's not a justification, but if the person comes out after the fact and says that that's the reason, that's also still not a justification, but it is a rationalization for that person's part.
But it's not.
Reason. It might not be for you, but it is.
No,
for
it's.
that.
I think
they've rationalized it that way, but that doesn't mean it's rational.
Adam, people rationalize crazy stuff all the time. That's not justification. Justification is an objective thing. Rationalization is very, very individualized. A lot of people just, look at all the public shootings. That's not some of them actually went to some serious lengths to plan out the situation. So it was not necessarily something that was like a temporary insanity situation. No, they rationalize it. The people they psyched themselves up. They set themselves on a course of action. Granted, the wrong course of action, but they set themselves on a course for whatever the reason, and they committed to it, and they executed, just like this Ubisoft swatting incident. This was not something that was, and again, referring back to the Montreal Gazette article, this was not a situation, according to Canadian law enforcement. This was not a situation that could have been done at the drop of a hat. This was not just a singular phone call that was made. This was a coordinated event that may have also required a little bit of computer hacking skills, specifically as it pertains to the one call that originated from inside the building itself. Again, you didn't necessarily have to have somebody on site to, participate to actually place that call. But again, with somebody with enough tech savvy, could have also gotten the job done that way too. So, and again, that person or series of individuals have been masking their identities to obviously elude law enforcement. And so it isn't. This was there was a lot of thought put into this, and I think to just simply dismiss it as reckless behavior by a bunch of crazies is very, very simple and an easy thing to do. My guess is there's going to be a deeper story to it, and that's why I asked the question.
Again, I'm not saying it's like a bunch of crazies, or I'm sure they have their own rationalizations, but the way you're asking the question, it makes it sound like, oh, what if Ubisoft didn't do those things, this wouldn't have happened.
Well, I asked the question, is it possible? And I don't think you're basically saying it is absolutely impossible. And I'm saying that is not necessarily so. In fact, I'm guaranteeing that once this trial, whoever gets arrested goes to court, lawyers are going to be asking that question: is it possible? And that's your whole reasonable doubt situation.
People can rationalize anything, though. That's why
I understand it, but I'm just asking the question, and I'm saying anything is possible, especially when it comes to trying to address the state of mind of individuals when it comes as it pertains to criminality, which again is like the heart, at least as it pertains to the criminal justice system in the United States. I don't know what the subtle differences are in Canada, but it speaks directly to states of mind. So the question of possibility is very relevant and quite prevalent and cannot be dismissed. Genesis, your thoughts?
So, I obviously hate Ubisoft. I don't like them at all.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't
Good
the
start.
one who did anything. I promise you that. I wasn't the one who orchestrated anything. I have nothing to do with this. Am I glad? Maybe. Am I excited? Kinda. Am I aroused? I don't really think so. But more to the point, I think I'm gonna have to agree with Giuseppe on this one, because we don't have any context as to what may have occurred, because so didn't somebody recently just get fired from there anyway? Wasn't it
a bunch?
That Ishmael?
A lot of people.
Yeah,
a few people.
yeah,
A few
yeah.
people. Yeah. So a few people have gotten let go from there, fired for their own obvious reasons. Each of them probably either had a common reason, different reason, whatever it may be. I don't think that really matters, but they all got let go. And I'm sure if those people who got let go affected others in the company, or had any connections with these people in the company, for one reason or another, I would assume that would be a reason for them to do something. And I don't think I can say, okay, Ubisoft as a company did something and that's why they deserve this, or it happened because they did X, Y, Z. That's why this happened. There's so many different factors that play into that. There is a possibility that something inside, those four walls of that building, something happened, and that's why something happened. But we don't exactly know that. I don't think it's impossible that can't be a reason, because we don't know all the context and the details and all that stuff. So if it is indeed something like that, and it is the reason, and that like XYZ equals Y this happened, then it is what it is. But at this point in time, I mean, I don't think anybody, or no company, no individual, nobody should get swatted at all for any reason in particular. There's no discernible reason at this point in time that anybody should get swatted for anything unless they honestly deserve something like that. Like they're just a terrible human being, a terrible organization.
It's never deserved.
I think the only way that you could possibly make the argument is if somebody's actually doing a live stream where they're actually like committing murders or crimes.
Yeah.
Or holding a hostage.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, sure.
That
Like that. Like that's the only time I really can say, yeah, let's call a SWAT on that.
So
but
when
like,
a crime is happening that should involve SWAT, you think that's when we should SWAT. Got it. Thank you for your for your wisdom.
I'm just saying. I mean, like again, and who's to say if, if that's even like a thing? Because again, there's a lot of things that can be staged just for a publicity.
Yeah.
There are things. I mean, you look at the public outside. When you see somebody getting sometimes beaten up or something like that, people take out their phones and just start goddamn recording. Like nobody
Family
calls
show.
anybody. Everybody stands there and watches it and stuff like that. I understand, but
they got evidence.
That's how people.
It's all good.
Oh, I understand that, but
but also
calling anybody.
Nobody's
doing
People
anything.
call.
Well, some people do, but definitely, John.
There are instances
right.
where people don't call.
Nobody's going to intervene. We're definitely.
Yes, they don't want to. They don't want to be a part of it.
It's always been that way. That's a mob mentality thing that's gone on before cell phones, though.
No, and I understand. I was just using that as an example. I get that's gone on before that.
Well, some people do. I mean, that incident with the shooter that started shooting up that church in Texas, and one of the parishioners took out his gun and shot the shooter. So, I mean, on some occasions, some people will do something, but I would say that is an extreme exception to the rule. And like you said, you're absolutely right, Adam. Like the mob mentality of just ducking in cover and just not getting involved, that's always, for the most part, going to dominate a situation like that. And rightly so, because, nobody's an actual superhero in life, okay? There are real heroes in life, but superheroes that are impervious to harm, and also impervious to any kind of after effects in terms of you jumped to action and you stopped somebody from doing something, but what did you have to do? Like, what kind of collateral damage did you cause in the process? Again, there are so many what ifs and what have yous and causation. The links that happened if in extreme situations that happen. I mean, who's to say that you could possibly be on the hook for anything that happens as a result of your quote unquote good Samaritan activities in the heat of the moment? I mean, who's to say? But people are not going to intervene. They're going to whip out the phones. Maybe some will call the authorities, but that won't be the first thing on people's minds.
No, not for every situation, obviously. But I mean, the main gist of this is obviously, if nobody should be calling a fake SWAT or anything like that, or unnecessary SWAT or anything like that to any individual, organization, company, whatever it may be. Nobody should be doing anything like that at all, unless it's absolutely warranted. Like obviously the examples we gave before, but. If there's nothing warranting that, nothing should be called like that. But again, we don't know any of the details that what happened with Ubisoft and things like that, so we don't know what was the reason, the motive, the warrant for it, why it happened. We don't know.
So my second question regarding the swatting incident, again, what's making this particular incident unique is that it was called on a company, on a place of business, where again, max capacity. This property holds 4,000 people. At maximum occupancy, as opposed to swatting an individual, somebody online, somebody live streaming, a celebrity, somebody in government. To harass them as an individual. Is it possible that this could be a trend that picks up in popularity, swatting organizations as opposed to individuals in the future?
That's actually a good question.
Because again, the nature of swatting has been very, very specific in its individual targeting. Now that this has occurred, and from the swatters' perspective, this was a successful campaign. Uh, I don't believe any kind of loss of life was necessarily the goal of swatting, but to cause maximum embarrassment, confusion, hysteria, and or just negative attention. That is seems to be the goal of swatting, as opposed to something much worse. Um, but is it possible that this could be a trend in the future? Because we've never really seen this before. This is the first. Thoughts?
Um, Especially with like the previous topic we talked about, which is like the death threats and things like that. I
Uh-huh.
could see this being something that people can get behind.
An escalation.
People, yeah, if they feel like their voice is not being heard, their prayers for whatever the heck they want is not being heard, their cries for I need this and I want this and you're not giving me this. It doesn't have to be an organization. I mean, these streamers, a lot of the streamers who, um, have big fan bases and things like that. There are some crazy spots in those fan bases for those people, and if they don't get what they want, that's a way of them just saying, you know what, I'm gonna get what I want, and it's gonna be at the cost of this person's career, physical well-being, mental well-being, many different things at that point. I could see it being something that people want to do because day by day it seems like the internet's just getting more and more crazy.
Hmm. Adam, trends?
No.
This is not going to be a trend.
There could be a trend, especially with everyone talking about it, so that'll just inspire more idiots to do it. So,
Well, that's one thing you can definitely count on idiots to do, is to inspire other idiots. That's definitely a vicious cycle that's going on there. Hopefully not. It's interesting though. I feel like the fact that it was Ubisoft that got hit with this situation, uh, it may just very well be a coincidence, but it seems awfully coincidental because I feel like there aren't too many other games companies that have as much negative attention in the current zeitgeist, in this current point in time, in 2020, as hot off the heels of all of the publication that's been going on about that company. Um, I don't know. I mean, like theoretically, I guess you could make the argument that other kind of companies like Activision, um, and EA, are other kind of like popular punching bags, at least in the gaming communities, for other reasons. You know what I mean? But similar kinds of complaints regarding business practices and or kind of products that kind of like go through the motions, may or may not be, company just taking the consumers for a ride, as it were. Again, that's not to say that anyone is, that should be a good reason. There is no good reason to SWAT, but it could be, these guys may, in the future, might draw that kind of negative attention that might, for the right or the wrong individual, if they just hype themselves up enough, if they become just so angered and enraged at whatever, it could set somebody off to do something drastic. But again, that's no more or less different than any other circumstance with extreme behavior on any day for any reason. So hopefully that is not a trend. My third question: what can be done to stop and or dissuade swatting in general, but also in particular to swatting organizations? I feel like that's a more dangerous situation than just individuals, because again, now you're talking about larger public areas where there are larger groups of people that are potentially involved in a situation where police are being sent in expecting resistance, expecting possible fire. You know what I mean? And so they're going to be going in. They're not going in, with the mindset of, oh, we're going to be, rescuing cats out of trees. They're going in, with hot blood. So, what do you think? Any suggestions to stop swatting or to dissuade it further than basically what it has been already? Because I still feel it's not a well-known crime or a well-known situation out there. Because again, we're talking about very, very isolated incidents. Thank goodness. It's not something that is just like a crime wave of swatting that's being reported everywhere. But I feel, again, and this is kind of referencing back to that Montreal Gazette article talking about the label of quote-unquote public mischief as per Canadian law, as an example of something that somebody could be charged with as a result of swatting. It doesn't seem as serious as it needs to be. I don't know. My one suggestion would be perhaps to, I don't know, make it a little bit, at the very least, make it sound a little bit more serious, because it's more than just abusing like emergency services and prank calling 911. But again, like all the resources that went into, for instance, all the police that got sent to the Ubisoft studio, that was a lot of cops and resources that got pulled to that area. What if they were needed elsewhere for an actual situation that really needed their attention? Again, yeah, that's serious business, man. I feel like, I don't know, there needs to be a higher sense of urgency in terms of like criminalizing this act. But that's just my thoughts. What are your thoughts in regards to it? What could possibly be done to stop or dissuade swatting?
Adam, you want to go first?
No, I'm still thinking.
I don't see that there's any. I don't think there's any real way to either better prepare or be able to distinguish something like that, differently than another typical 911 call or a distress call or anything like that, because they can make it sound like whatever's happening in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have some better technology that allows you to ping a location, see where it's coming from, trace the signal in real time, and be able to tell where this phone call is coming from. Is it real? Is it fake? I mean, there's so many different variables that I don't know that they could even be able to tell if it was a real call or not, or if it's just some random person calling, or is it the actual company calling, hey, there's something going on here and we need some help.
Yeah, authenticity is definitely, that's
a
definitely
big key in that. I don't think they can verify that at this. I don't think there's technology that can do that at this point in time. I could be wrong. I have no idea.
The hacking technology to fake a situation is far more advanced than it is to verify. You know what I mean? A situation like that. Well, as it pertains to a call for emergency services.
Yeah, I mean, now when you get in the verifying portion of it, now you're cutting into emergency response time, because now you have to verify every one of these calls. What if it's an actual emergency and you're spending those important minutes and seconds that somebody needed you to be already on the way, you're spending those verifying a call. I mean, it's very difficult to call in between to say what can and cannot be done to dissuade things like this, and to try and prevent things like this from happening. I really don't think there's a way. I think, honestly, once we start pulling people for these kind of things and they get their sentences and things like that, hopefully, but that usually never does anything. People don't get scared by that. People don't, because in their head, oh, well, they're just doing time now, and time is your punishment. It's not like you're getting...
Well, I mean, again, the situation, again, drawing it back to the really bad situation in 2017 regarding Tyler Barris, that dude got 20 years really mostly because somebody died in a situation like that. Had that not occurred,
Would have been like 5 years.
chances are he would have faced significantly less charges in terms of like the number of charges and then obviously the amount of time he had to serve as a result of that. So that's definitely an extreme example. However, the potential for loss of life in a swatting situation goes through the roof. Again, you're basically you're ringing the bell to law enforcement to send them to a location. Again, and it's not just the volume of law enforcement, but it's also the mindset that they're going in expecting a high conflict, potential shootout situation. And that automatically turns that into a much more dire situation than just, calling the cops on, your neighbors that are yelling at each other, you know what I mean, or a domestic violence situation, which, again, that's not to trivialize that, but they're not going to that house with the SWAT team ready to kick the door in and, rescue hostages. Adam,
Right.
what do you think?
I think you both said enough. I covered what I thought.
Okay. Honestly, I think this is more than just a situation that should be addressed by law enforcement and like the criminal code per se. Like you were talking about Genesis about kind of it's like okay, well 5 years, like yeah, well they're doing time. It's not a big deal. I think it's more than that. I think honestly, it as it in regards to any kind of social situation where we have big time social problems in the world, it's not a simple fix, and it's not just something that needs to be addressed by one aspect of society. I think this is something that also needs to be addressed in the gaming community. I think social media people, YouTubers, any kind of influencers out there, they need to play a more active role in discouraging it. And whenever these stories come out in public, I think, like for instance, like what we're doing here, we're talking about it, but we're also discouraging it. We're calling it out for being extremely bad behavior, criminal behavior. You shouldn't do it. There's no justification for it, regardless of whether you have a grudge against an individual or a grudge against an organization. There's nothing to be gained from it other than just horrible consequences and possibilities. So I do think the community needs to rally against it in a more vocal way, in a more prominent way, as opposed to a jokey way. You know what I mean? Like to talk about it for the clicks and the lulz. I think that's a step in the wrong direction. And also, I think that if in fact this is going to be, if it is possible that this is a trend that companies, games companies in particular, but any company in general, start to become targets of swatting, I think they need to do a little bit more in their PR, their marketing, and their social media departments to at the very least present themselves as a better organization than what they're being perceived as a result of whatever their business practices, how many people they hire, how many people they fire, how much money the CEO makes, how much money they make versus their quarterly shareholders. I mean, they need to do a better job at the very least to present a better face and not to come off as smug. I'm reminded of the Activision Blizzard response to the gentleman for the Hearthstone tournament who tried to use his platform to say something positive about the Taiwan situation, and then the fallout of all that happened, and then the very, very unconvincing apology from the Activision Blizzard gentleman. Nobody seemed to buy into that because number one, it wasn't a very good performance, but also number two, it's not believable because again, the company strictly acted in its own best interests in order to not rock the boat in regards to the business relationship between Activision Blizzard and the Chinese government. So I don't know. I think I'm not, again. This is not to put the finger on the company. Again, Adam, not trying to victim blame here, but they could also do a little bit more to kind of try to help the situation and not come off quite as I don't know, as smug in situations where it can be framed as the company versus the market or the company versus consumers, and then something happens, and now you're drawing lines in the sand, and now you're putting people on different sides. I don't think that's a valuable thing to do, but people will do it if they feel that there's some kind of like conspiracy or some persecution or something that's happening. So I think that the companies can do a little bit better job to talk about these issues, perhaps do a little bit better job at spin, a little bit better job at damage control. And again, things that would also help in that regard too is a little bit better transparency. It's my number one complaint of the video game industry. I said it before and I'll say it again 1,000 times. More transparency from these companies. The market is starved for entertainment. It will always be starved for entertainment. And people want to know the progress reports. Some of these games, they take an awful lot of time, money, and man hours to crank out. But if things go wrong, people want to know, because expectations will never be lowered. Expectations will always rise, and they will rise exponentially. So a little bit of honesty. As soon as you know that things are, delays are happening, problems are happening, patches are happening, fixing broken aspects of a game is happening. I mean, these are information. More information in regards to this subject matter is always is welcome, and it needs to be a little bit more timely, a little bit more. It needs to be disseminated to the public a little bit more quickly, because that will help things. That presents at the very least the guise of sincerity from a company's perspective, and then again, that's no guarantee that would dissuade people from acting crazy or doing crazy things as a response to nonsense, but at the very least, it is a sign of good faith on the community in which these companies exist, as well as the market from which they profit. I think it's a good idea all around. So again, regarding swatting, I think it's there's no simple solution to it. It's a bad thing all the way around. No justification for it, and there are many ways that can contribute to stopping it, to dissuading it, to draw negative attention. Just not look at it as a funny or something that or a behavior that needs to be mimicked in any kind of way, for whatever the reason. So. All out there, you all need to go out there and talk about it, and call it out when you see it, because it's not good. It will never result in any kind of positive outcome. Swatting is not ever going to change it. So, like death threats, it is a childish. It's cowardly. And people who, if you hear or you see people talking about that they want to do it, these are people that require some professional attention, some very personal attention to address some deeper issues. It's not good behavior. So call it out. Don't prop it up. don't send it any kind of positive reinforcement because it's not good. It doesn't help anyone. All it does is hurt people. And that's really all I have to say about that. Any other kind of thoughts about swatting in general or the swatting incident at Ubisoft? Anything else that anyone would like to add?
I'm all good.
Okay. Anything else in general that anyone wants to talk about before we wrap it up? Because we got a little bit long because it was a little bit more of a serious time topic.
Everybody get a PS5 sometime. Somehow get a PS5. Hopefully everybody gets one. Swatting's bad. And everybody stay safe in this pandemic. Wear a mask. Don't be dumb. And twitch.tv/craftingachat is all I got left.
Cool. Perfect. Couldn't say it any better than myself. Cool. All right. And that's it. We're signing off. Crafting a Chat. Saying goodbye from Adam, Genesis, Giuseppe Jones, and Kevin, wherever he went off to. He did leave us a while ago.
He did, yeah.
Everyone be good. Be good to each other. Enjoy the holidays when they come out. Be safe. And we'll see you next time.
See you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.